To the Las Vegas massacre with horror like everyone else, but also with unrelenting pleas to just do something, though few of them graced us with specifics on that and told us what they want lawmakers to actually do. Even fewer can explain how doing something will prevent another attack like the one we just saw. Leading the charge to do something is Richard Painter. He's a law professor at the University of Minnesota. He's a former ethics lawyer for the Bush administration. Painter expressed his outrage on Twitter saying, quote, "Americans are sick of political hacks talking about condolences and sympathy while stuffing NRA blood money in their pockets, period. Do something." He continued, "We can all pray about it, but we elected you to do something to protect us. What you were doing to fix our permissive gun laws, question mark." Then he finished this way, "Enough BS. For thoughts and prayers, call a priest or rabbi. For decent gun laws, call a congressman. If he doesn't do anything, sack him." Well, Painter is obviously concerned about gun violence, but what solution does he propose? Richard Painter joins us tonight. Richard Painter, great to see you. You're a smart man. I know we went to the same high school. I've known you for a long time. I saw these tweets, and my first thought was, Richard Painter has a solution that he's keeping from the rest of us. And so I'm inviting you on tonight to tell us what it is.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to come up with a solution that's going to eliminate all gun violence. But we have a lot of it. This keeps happening. At a minimum, we ought to have information on people like Mr. Paddock, who are acquiring dozens of weapons over a very short period of time. It amazes me that the police didn't know that he was acquiring that many weapons over such a short period of time.
Okay,
that
so let's stop there. So since you're a law professor, I know that you can handle specific questions. How many weapons in what period of time should trigger a visit to your house from authorities?
I am not an expert on what the threshold ought to be. I think that's up to law enforcement, and that's not the only factor that they would consider.
It's not up to law enforcement. It's not up to law enforcement. Nothing is up to law enforcement. It's up to voters to decide what the laws are, and then law enforcement, of course, enforces them by definition. So,
well, they
what should
lawmakers? You said visit your house if the music is too loud. I mean, they'll visit your house if they think there's something to be concerned about. Just ask questions.
So look, I guess what struck me was not your concern, which of course I share, and your love of country, which I share, and I think all of our viewers too, but your claim, explicit claim, that this could have been solved by laws. You said that repeatedly and suggested that anyone who didn't agree with you had, quote, blood money in their pockets, which is a heavy thing to say. So again, what specific law are you calling for?
We can talk about the NRA blood money, what they've done to the Republican Party, or we can talk about the solutions. I'll focus now on the solution.
I want you to talk about the solutions. That's why I wanted. Okay. So, but what are they? You still haven't told me.
Law enforcement ought to know if someone has acquired dozens of weapons, and they can use that information along with other information. For example, is the person associating with known terrorists? Is the person associating with the Ku Klux Klan? Is the person somebody who appears to be psychologically unsettled? They can use that information along with other information to check out the facts, and they do not need a law to go pay you a visit in your house and say, hello, what's up, what's going on? Is he a gun collector? Is he a dealer? There might be a good reason to be purchasing dozens of weapons over a short period of time. There might be a bad reason. It turned out this guy had a very bad reason, but this is not a well...
buy too many guns, the police should come visit them and ask them why they have the guns, and then do what?
That depends on the circumstances.
Well, how about in this case, the specific circumstance you were tweeting about? What should the police have done in this case? Let's say that law was on the books, and if you buy more than 20 guns in 6 months, the police come to your house, and then they ask what?
Well, as I say, they could have paid him a visit and say, why do you have the guns? Why are you buying all these guns? What's going on? And they might or might not have figured out that this guy was a lunatic, or the guy who shot up the gay bar. I mean, it goes on and on. We got so many lunatics out there.
Hold on. No, wait, hold on. Before you go back into generalities, since you're a law professor, I'm going to hold you to specifics. Then do what? I mean, because you're familiar with the concept of civil liberties. I mean, you're familiar with the Constitution. You can't punish someone for something he hasn't done, can you? Or are you suggesting that we do that?
No, you cannot. But the police know how many, the authorities know how many cars you have in your garage. They know all sorts of facts about you. Shouldn't they know if you have dozens of these guns? And that's not just the only point. How about these silencers that they're trying to push through? Why do we need silencers on guns?
Okay,
is that for the mafia?
Okay, now you're revealing yourself as ignorant, so I'm going to stop you there so you don't embarrass yourself.
Ignorant,
but let's just hold on. Silencers had nothing to do. I mean, let's be real. But let's just back up 1 second. By using the same criteria, okay, but don't embarrass embarrass yourself. By using the same criteria you just laid out, Muslims are like 2% less percent of the population. Since 9/11, the vast majority of terror deaths have been committed by Muslim men. If you've got a Muslim man who's very devout, that's a starker indicator by the numbers than buying guns. Should the police visit him and ask him about his commitment to global jihad?
I don't know what this has to do with Muslims or anyone else. If you've got a Christian who's associated with the Ku Klux Klan or a Muslim who happens associated with ISIS, yes, but the vast majority of Muslims don't associate with ISIS.
The vast majority of people who buy a lot of guns don't shoot up concerts.
The bottom line is the police ought to know about the weapons.
And then do what? I mean, your suggestion is not very smart with respect. And then do what? You go to this guy's house. What do you have all these weapons? I don't know. I don't have to tell you that.
How to investigate threats to public safety. But I can assure you, if somebody is accumulating that many weapons and the police saw it, and someone important were coming in like the President of the United States, you bet they'd be looking into it. But they don't care when it comes to our families, my family. We want the police to be able to enforce the law.